Lord God, forgive us our trespasses. Our world seems to be failing in many ways. Hear our prayers for redemption. We here at Mount Vernon Towers, thank you for our many blessings. We have so many staffers here to take care of us. Bless them. Let us count our blessings continually. In his name we pray, amen.
Okay, we'll start with the minutes from last month. Go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, take it away, Rita.
All right. Well, we had a fairly decent month. Looking at the total company, you'll now see a little bit change this month. You'll see the current month actuals with the current month budget and the current month variance. You'll then see the year-to-date budget and the year-to-date variance. From there, I've started forecasting. You'll see the quarter one actuals and then starting quarter 2, 3, 4 forecast, as well as the FY22 forecast versus the budget. For the current month, our total income was $474,693, which was favorable by $6,576. You'll notice that we should have been more favorable of $20,295, but that was due to the T-Mobile revenue that's normally budgeted in April, but we're still currently negotiating that contract. So it has not been deposited yet.
Yeah, you could deposit the check.
Okay.
I heard today.
So that'll go into May. Our year-to-date budget income was $1,810,783. We are $108,064 better than budget in revenue for the year so far at month-end April 2022. You'll notice that I forecasted the remainder of the second quarter throughout the end of the year. Due to our PCC occupancy, I have forecasted a revenue to be higher by $345,643 more than what we budgeted. Any questions there? Moving to expenses, before I get to the bottom line expenses, I do want to point out that you'll see on number 2, our professional fees actually shows a credit of $9,326. We were able to recover some legal fees that we have spent previously. Brian can elaborate on that if he would like, but I've also forecasted $49,000 less in legal fees than what we budgeted.
The only thing that I'll comment is a comment that I made last month, that we seem to have come through all the litigation, and doesn't appear as though that there is anything on the horizon, litigation. So I'm just going to post a note out there on the owner's website with a little bit more detail on it, and then the owners can read the message that I'll send with respect to that, if nobody has a problem with that.
Okay.
We don't need to make a do we need a motion on that? Do you think we need a motion to do that?
To
Post the note that you've all seen on the litigation?
I think we should, because that's,
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should, because I think that's a pretty strong note, and opens up the fact that the whole board, or portions of the board, however the vote goes, agreed to it. So.
Okay, so we'll make a motion. I'll make the motion to post a letter to the owners regarding the status of the litigation.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. It'll be out there on the owner's website today, tomorrow.
Yep, I'll send a memo out whenever it's posted. Whenever I post it, I'll send a memo out.
Okay.
Okay? Moving down to expenses. Our total expenses for the current month ending in April was $396,296. Our year-to-date budget for expenses was $1,653, $1,653,583. We are $27,770 under budget in expenses for the year so far. Our net income for the current month was $58,155, which is $16,662 better than budget. But again, we have not deposited the check for $20,295 from T-Mobile. I have forecasted that now in May.
Okay, that's good. We're in good shape right now. How are we on the unplanned expenses?
So far, we have not spent any monies on the unplanned, what was used to be extraordinary unplanned. This time last year, we had already spent $236,000, but so far we have not. I do have some forecasted for May of $13,000, which we budgeted for, so it's not really unplanned, but it's still in that number. The monies that we put in for repairs into the budget is taking care of a lot of the unforeseen items like compactor motor blew up, HVAC motor blew up, things like that.
So then I guess my question on that would be, is there any, I could look at it here, I don't know.
There is not any unplanned issues
unfavorability
been
there.
reported,
So
no.
that was a good plan. Okay, good.
I've also, starting this month, did a cash forecast since I've forecasted the revenue and expenses. Ending in April, of course, we had a positive cash flow, and you'll notice that we have a positive cash flow each month all the way till the end of the year. Things go accordingly. By the end of the year, our cash forecast would be $276,507. Our property insurance did increase from $21,000 to $24,741 a month as well, or per quarter.
So with the cash, right, I guess if we have a few $100,000 here in cash, right, which is more than we need for our operating,
Right.
right? So last year we borrowed
Borrowed
money from,
$156,000 when we started with Morrison's to pay our first month up front, plus the $53,000 some odd dollars for capital.
all right, so we've recovered that now, and so I'm going to make a motion that we go ahead and put that back in the reserve.
I'll second that.
Okay, everybody good with that?
Aye.
Great, all right, excellent. That'll improve the reserve by another $156,000, right?
Right, it's still in this, the number that I'm about to give next on the cash management, it would still be all in this, just in a different section. But yeah, it'll increase our capital reserve.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change the net amount of money
Right.
that we have, but we have it in the
Right,
reserve where it should be.
right. Moving to the cash management, our total capital account at the end of April was $1,102,176. Our total operating cash was $425,330, giving us a total cash of $1,527,506. That was an increase from March of $113,199. If we look back a year, April of 2021, that gives us an increase of $511,532. And you can see it's broken down from April of 21 all the way to 22. No questions there?
Very positive.
I agree. Moving on to the meal counts. For April, we served 6,189 meals. We had one less day, and we also closed down for lunch on a Saturday for the Mother's Day tea, which is very positive. So we lost a few meals from that. Overall, the new dining process that implemented last Monday, from my observations, seems to be going fairly well. And the comments that I've received, they're still working on things like, everybody following the same recipe, portion control, that kind of thing. They are creating an a la carte menu. I know we talked about in the executive session, we've had some meetings. but June 6th is doomsday. They have to roll out with an à la carte menu, just as we had before COVID, for dinner. The only exception will be is we will still keep Wednesday night as our fried chicken chef table night. Going on to the building maintenance. We had a few projects that we've completed since the last board meeting. PCC, we've installed both the doors that exit the dining room to the balcony. We've installed automated doors. We've got to work on the timing of when they close, but that's a positive thing for the residents to be able to come and go as they want to without having to have help. The laundry rooms, we've been working internally to paint all 10 laundry rooms. We have 7 of those complete. However, I am seeking quotes to restain the front desk and repaint the dining room and the trim in there because it's looking very worn from 2017.
I'm just, can I just, not on the doors per se, but up in the PCC, but there is a really nice balcony up there, right? That is a really nice balcony. And we have automatic doors to go in and out now, so it's not a chore to go in and out of those things. I'd like to see residents in the building use it. It's not just for the PCC.
In June, you're gonna see on the calendar, there's gonna be some happy hour events on the balcony. You know, I want to encourage the residents from the condos to go up there and mingle among themselves as well as the PCC
With the PCC
residents.
folks, so that, yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
that kind of isolation. I think that's good. I think that's good.
Also with the PCC, we've installed a gutter system to that deck. I don't know if you ever noticed when it rained, the water just completely gushed out and made a mess there, as well as the shed in the back area. Both of our fryers in the kitchen died last week. Looking back at the fixed asset sheet, they're over 15 years old. Luckily, we were able to find them locally to purchase. Phase 1 of the landscape is now in place, as well as the spring planting. Josh has come back to redo the irrigation system schedule, as well as replace some sod that was dead and implement some more plantings per request of myself and Reed. Sales and leasing, I'll let Jerry touch on that if he's here.
Back down.
Here, got a microphone.
Yeah, we got it. We can't check.
Sorry.
So we're pretty much sold out again as far as sales and leasing go. I see there was another 2-bedroom put on the market today, as I had one put on also. So we've got 2 bedrooms for sale. We've got, I don't think we have any.
We have three 2-bedrooms for sale.
We got 3? No, one is on there. It's closing July 1st. It's an outside salesperson. Shouldn't be on there, but it is. I guess that's because the owner hasn't, told you anything. I don't know, because I don't have anything to do with that one. So it's the one that is the 1803.
But they just asked me to drop the price, so I don't think there's a contract on it.
Well, they told me, and it's,
Oh, anyway.
and it's online. So I don't know. That's something I don't hear any of that, so I didn't know. So anyway, as far as lease goes, there are 3 for lease. There's a 1-bedroom. There's 2 1-bedrooms and 1 studio. So there's no 2 bedrooms for lease. So we're pretty, like I said, nothing has been staying on the market. We're pretty full here, and I don't hear much of anything coming new on the market. So maybe a slow time now, and just for everybody to just keep letting me know what needs to go. If you know of anything that needs to be sold or leased, feel free to call me. I don't hear much of what is available. So until something happens, somebody moves or somebody passes, then I might hear that. But other than that, what you see on the page here is what's left. Anybody have any questions on that?
construction reports down below. Again, I want to reiterate, if you see something going on in the building in the way of construction, no matter how small it is, if you do not see a sign on the door, let me know. We do have some people coming in the middle of the night trying to work on units to keep from doing the proper paperwork, and I don't mind to go in there and kick them out in the middle of the night.
You go, girl.
I see that the Capitol is next. You want to just sort of kick that one off here?
Yeah, I know we talked about it in the executive session, but.
All right, so, and I know that this has been sort of a long time coming, because we started in December, the meeting, and actually started a lot longer ago than that. But with respect to the capital planning, capital improvement status, so we, Scott got today, in fact, it was today, the final bid from one of the folks that were supposed to bid on the construction. So what we agreed today is that we're going to start the capital budgeting process in June, so that we can get the capital budgeting process in June done. Bill and Scott Goins from the budget committee can work with me to create the capital budget, so that we'll try to do the worst case scenario. We'll put together a couple of scenarios on cost, but we'll work from a worst case scenario and then try to refine the case as we go along to figure out about how much it costs and what the financing will be, what the period of time will be to do all the work that's necessary. Scott, will you try to pull together the vendor meetings, or who's going to pull together whatever we're going to do with respect to organizing sort of some final reviews of the bids?
Well, I'll pull all the bids back together now, because the other three contractors, all three bid two different ways, so I'll pull them all back together with a summary on a spreadsheet, and then if we want to meet with the contractors again, I can set that up.
Okay, all right, good. And then you guys can figure it out. Between the two of you guys figure it out. The only other thing that I wanted to mention is, people may have seen people around. I just wanted to mention the markings on the walls and the staircases, right? Because you probably saw somebody coming in, there's all red lines and numbers on the stairwells. And really what that was about was, there is some, what appears to be just mortar cracking, cosmetic things that are on those walls, and just to make sure that we know exactly what's going on there, we had Nova Engineering come back out, mark the cracks, and measure the cracks so that we can make sure that over time there's no shifting of that stuff and it remains safe, which we expect it to be. It also was important because in part of the negotiation that we're working with T-Mobile on the antennas, they want to upgrade our antennas to 5G. And one of the penthouses, we'll call them the penthouses because maybe someday we'll turn it into one, but one of the penthouses, which is the center penthouse where a T-Mobile antenna is mounted, has got cracks in it, and we believe that some of that cracking is coming from the antenna itself. That's our position. And we're negotiating with them the real estate rights that they have, as well as any damage that they've caused to the building over time. So part of that was to have our engineer come in, assess those cracks so that we could get a good understanding of what our position was. Because naturally, they sent out engineers yesterday. I think it was yesterday, right? They sent out engineers yesterday and started to look at and take pictures of and assess the cracks for themselves. So it's all part of the negotiation of the antenna contracts. We certainly expect T-Mobile to pay for the cost of doing that. So anyways, in case you have seen those things in the stairwells, that's what it's about. That's capital.
Okay.
Right.
I also want to mention a couple more things. I know I put in the Towers Talk that if anybody wanted to volunteer to assist in forming a group to, I've got a home health service coming in, and what this group would do is assist in letting the residents know what's going on, schedules and so forth. I haven't had any response, but this is kind of beefing up to be pretty soon. This group does primary care, podiatrist, psychiatry, wound care, diabetes management. They come on site and do blood work, x-rays. They see someone individually or a scheduled day as a group. It doesn't have to be a group, so it's a pretty big group that does everything, that can provide all sorts of care on site and not have to leave. It will require a lot of work on the back end, so if we have anyone that wants to volunteer, let me know to kind of help get this started. We'll be meeting next week, so if you want to volunteer, I'd like to include you in that meeting. Board have any?
Yeah, that's what we wanted to cover in the board meeting itself. Anybody, other business, starting with you, Scott?
I just had a thought, and I wanted to back up a little bit on that previous motion, that we post that information for 30 days and not infinitely.
You know what, I'm good with that. I have a problem with that. Anybody have a motion? I'll second that, 30 days.
Good with that.
All in favor?
Okay,
All in favor?
30 days.
You're talking about on the.
Yeah, the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a
Previous motion,
permanent
but-
event.
yeah.
It's just an informational piece.
You got questions on Morrison's?
Yes. Oh, one more thing. Just right before the executive session, I've been working with getting our second booster, and I was just notified that will happen next Thursday. You'll receive a letter from me before I go home today about the process and signing up and so forth. But next Thursday, we will have the second booster offered here by Tuxedo Pharmacy. All right. Questions? Let's see, good progress is being made at dinner. For those who remember the dining room 10 years ago, the current dining process is very familiar. Rather than checking your meal choices on a printed form at the table, the servers take your order. The chef tables are now in the kitchen, but the number of choices remains the same. Sit-down dining reduces the number of residents moving between tables, and delivering plates standardizes the serving sizes, thus reducing waste. I want to address the topics from the Morrison's committee presentation. Number one, what is the board planning to do to answer the following? Will temporary labor costs be reduced?
Who's?
You're ready.
Got thrown this just a second, had to think about it. There is an ongoing process right now that Rita is involved with, and that's where I was thinking Rita would have a better answer. But anyway, she's involved with Morrison's evaluating the labor cost currently and the labor cost from last year. And those numbers are in flux, and it's difficult to report on that as far as a detailed number. So the objective, yes, is to get the labor costs reduced and to review those that have already existed over the past months. So,
Will the cost above the not to exceed amount of $122,000 be paid by Mount Vernon Towers?
Yes.
well, this is, of course, according to the contract, this is an item that goes into dispute. And at this point in time, there has, not to my knowledge, been a discussion with Morrison's about the dispute. So whether it's a yes or a no. I know previously Brian has stated that he doesn't feel like we should pay that. And the committee doesn't feel like we should pay that either. But that discussion, as far as I am aware of, has not taken place with Morrison's.
No, they have, but their discussion is only wanting to know what we plan to do about paying the amount, basically. So they're waiting on us to say,
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
that's basically it. I mean, they obviously, they see it as a bill that we owe, and we see it as soon as you can reconcile some of the costing to us, we'll review what it is that you've provided to us and what plans you have to resolve the problem that you're having, keeping the cost under the budget that you were given. And until that time, there'll be no paying of that 122. But we think with the, with the reconciliation work that we're going through, once we get to the bottom of that, we'll have a better understanding of where we stand on it. So we can report on that way at another time, so.
When is the next quarterly Morrison's meeting with the board? Will members of the committee be invited to attend? I do have the date of the next meeting, but I would have to look on my email. Basically, it's a presentation that Steve will do to tell us what we've done for the last quarter, menus, that kind of thing.
I'm just gonna suggest that if they want to do a presentation, a quarterly presentation, I don't particularly, I personally, my opinion, don't particularly care who attends, right? Interested parties could attend. I don't think it needs to be a committee attention or a board attention. It's who thinks that they need to attend that.
Okay.
And I don't care who it is. As long as it just isn't out of control in terms of attendance.
Right.
It's not a big, huge event.
Okay.
You skip one, Rita. Number 3 under number 1.
Oh, will menu changes reflect the answers in the resident survey?
I think you should answer that because you've got
Yeah, so
things
basically,
going on.
Damien and I have met twice last week. We went through what our menus used to be pre-COVID. I pulled all the reports in the POS system that shows how many times an item was ordered off that menu. We've started the process of eliminating, adding. We will come back the end of this week and go back over it, but they do have the survey results now. Did you want to say?
Did you want to say something about that?
No.
I mean, because this is another one where once the menus, because, look, I understand that there is a pre-COVID view of the world, right, where we know exactly what people ordered, what they ate, what they didn't eat, right? And not all those people are the same. They're certainly not necessarily the same as the ones that took the survey, right? Tastes change, things change, and so it's a great guidance, right? But I would turn that back to you a little bit, Scott, and say, you know, if they deliver a menu to us, develop a menu, I don't have this is one of those things. I don't have a problem whether the committee that was there take a look at that and say, all right, yeah, you know, this sort of falls into place with what we think the survey was telling us, right? What I want to be careful of is that, you know, what I said earlier is that a lot of people, it's not very different than the survey that we did 2 years ago, and what a lot of people say and what they grab for at the meal is two different things. So, but what is important is that there's balance on that menu and there's choice on that menu that allows those to get what they need to meet their dietary needs.
Which points out a fact that I think we didn't talk about it before, but the fact that we should schedule a time to present the full survey to Morrison's. I mean, not the full hour presentation, but at least go through the complete survey so they understand all of what was done, all the details are in there. And yes, the food recommendations that are in the survey are very practical. And they came out to be very practical. And one of the things that I've noticed is that outside of the fact that we still got 3 potatoes on every menu, that a lot of the other items have been, we're starting to see more greens. We're starting to see a salad and salad choices. We're starting to see a few things that are there. But we have not gone to the fact of getting from Morrison's a full-blown report from them or plan from them which says, hey, this is what we want to do for you guys. We haven't seen that from them, so.
So do you want to present that to them at a date that's convenient for both parties?
We'd sit down with it, yeah.
Okay. All right, where we at? What is the negotiated cost Morrison's will charge to Mount Vernon Towers for March 2022 to March 2023? Please state the base amount and the not to exceed amount. Actually pulled that. So for the March 2022 to February 2023, the minimum labor cost would be $876,840. The max would be $903,310. Food cost would be $329,425,000. The max would be $406,850. Direct cost would be $110,135. The max would be $157,590. For a total contract minimum of $1,316,400. The max $1,467,750. The management percentage rate per the contract, because they give 60-day notice, could increase, which they did, by the management rate of 40.58%, the full-time rate of 29.2%, and the part-time rate of 23.7%. That's their burden percentage.
So the overall not to exceed and the standard contract, that's just the increase of the 30% that we negotiated.
Right.
So, holding the maximum is an important thing to be able to do. If we can hold the maximum here, and we can enforce maximums, that's a 3% increase in a pretty tough time. So I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but we're sure as heck gonna try, so.
Well, let's remember that they started out with an 11.5% cushion from what they sold us on. They sold us on what was now called the minimum with an 11.5% increase, and so you add 3% to the 11.5%, and
It's true. but
it's
when
up
you-
to, that's at
but when you look at
14.5% now.
That's true, but when you look at it also, the reality is that when we did that minimum, there were no parties, they weren't included in it. There was no alcohol, that wasn't included in it, okay? And so in the cost that is being attributed to it includes all the parties and includes all the alcohol. And we had, 19 parties and 1,400 participants. That's what we had. So that was always over and above. If you look at the original document, the original plan, that minimum and that maximum was laid out there, and there was a group of footnotes that we couldn't know what the answer was because they were embedded in costs, and there were parties. There were a couple other things in there. I'd be happy to show you that. So I just want to be careful about, a statement that is so clear like that. We have costs in there that aren't part of what we expected to have as those minimums. We just include them. It's okay to include them, but they're part of it.
Right. We purchased the alcohol, but yet the parties, I have down how many parties and how many attendees that were not included.
We still charge for the parties, though. Everybody gets charged for the party when they show up.
Yeah, but.
Right. But it might be, instead of
Right, and there were,
it's a small overreach, not a full-blown $9.50 per person. It might be $11 a person.
Right, the menu can fluctuate.
I don't know, but we are also not considering the fact that there's incremental revenue that comes, okay, that offset the cost as well. So while there's still a margin issue, right, which we pay for, because it's a negative margin, it always was a negative margin. It was never a positive margin. We always subsidized it. So there are also additional revenues that come into it that allow us to offset some of those costs. I just happen to have a whole folder of stuff. I think that's, I don't know, it's a letter. I'll pass it over to you when I find it. But I don't know that with this discussion is gonna go anymore.
Has the board notified Morrison's of the 60-day cure period? If not, please explain.
As we talked before, my recommendation is we go ahead and do the notification to Morrison's in order to get full attention to us. And of course, they would have 60 days to cure those listed items, and if they do, fine. If they don't, then there would be another 60-day letter that would go out to where we would have 60 days to cancel them, and they would be obligated by contract to serve us or for those 60 days.
Do you want to make a motion for that?
I make a motion that we do issue a letter to Morrison's to cancel in 60 days and give them a list of items which needed to be cured during that cure period.
Anybody seconding that?
What do we lose if we delay another 30 to 60 days to get these reports back before we issue that 60-day letter?
I don't feel like we lose anything personally. I see where Morrison's gets an extra 30 days to cure, because obviously there's some activity in that direction at this point in time. So they would have, instead of 60 days, if they knew that was in the horizon, they would hopefully step up the pace, give them 90 days instead of 60 days.
And I'm opposed to doing that without having a solid plan B in place. I don't want to bluff on something that I don't have a backup plan for. So if we can come up with a backup plan, I would consider putting them on notice if we knew we had a backup plan.
Yeah, I also think that since we just got the report last month or so, with the information, the great information that was collected, I think that we need to have the discussions with Morrison so that they can either fix or tell us what they can't fix before we give them a 60-day letter. I don't see why we would need to do it now. We could wait for another 60 days. That's my opinion.
Okay, so is anybody going to second that motion? Doesn't look like it. What I would just say is that let's put it off till then. Let's have the follow-up discussion this month on it. I'm not opposed to that as an outcome. I don't think anybody is opposed to that as an outcome. I just think we're not ready to do that quite yet.
As far as your comment regarding the Plan B, that would need to be started, of course, immediately once the letter was put forth. You have a Plan B in place, like i.e. having everybody hired or another company hired, then you have two companies that you're dealing with and two people you may be paying and somebody on somebody who's anticipating and it doesn't take place. So I think we need to begin to work on a plan, absolutely. But to have it in place when you give Morrison's a 30-day letter, I think would be a little too much to expect.
I think if we look at the chases as an example, 60 days goes pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would want to be on my way here, and we're not. So, again, I'm not opposed to it. I just am not ready. I don't think we're ready for it, honestly. I got a job. We don't have a lot of, real time to sort of be able to put it, spend just the type of time you need to have the contacts, to have meetings, to get started. So we should reconvene in the next week or so, 2 weeks, within the next 2 weeks, and sort of decide what that plan is going to be. And then we can come back to that decision to put them on notice. That's sort of my feeling on it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to start with presenting the full presentation to them, see where they take it from there,
Yeah.
given the points.
Yeah. And it'll also give us a better understanding of, we'll have a little bit more time to work with the financial piece of it that we think is important, because that is, if that's not right, and then that's a real reason for a cure, right? That you can give them, that you can substantiate, that says that, are you managing us properly or not? As our vendor, are you managing your account, our account, the right way and doing the things that you need to do? I don't think that there's a general great dissatisfaction around the food service, right? People were generally happy with the service. They were mixed about the food. Most people were down the middle on the food. They were not so happy, very happy, but the amount of people that actually, the percentage of people here that actually use their meal allowance is quite high. So it can't just say that, people aren't willing to, it's so bad that they're not willing to give it up. So I'm just not there quite yet on that. So I want everybody fed.
That's all the questions that I was submitted.
That's all the questions? Okay. Does the board have any other business? We didn't have any other business?
Questions from the floor.
What?
Just questions from the floor.
Yeah, I see some hands going up.
Following up on question number 3, Rita, you said the range would be 1.3 to 1.4. How many meals is that based on?
I'd have to go back and look, but I
Yeah, I
think
think
it's
it's still
90,000.
90,000. I think it's still 90,000.
So what does the contract say if we consume more than 90,000 or less?
Well,
Because if I understood
yeah, I mean,
the
it's-
presentation that Scott made, we consume a lot less than the 90,000 meals, but still have exceeded the 1 point whatever, correct, Scott?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the contract is silent on that because it's really a census number, an estimate of what we think are the meals that get served. And we're not serving that number of meals, so that means the cost per meal is higher than we would have anticipated it to be. We don't have a credit for that because it's a cost-based contract.
But-
And again, it comes down to, I think we talked about it last month, which was the fact that labor is scalable, food is variable. So the incremental cost of serving the additional meals, is less than what would be whatever calculated number we come up with this month.
But I'm more concerned that if we go from 90,000, we're anticipating to 70,000 and still paying 1.4 million.
Yeah. If you took, I think, what were the number of meals, 6,300 or something like that?
I think it's
Last month.
Just the last month.
6198, I think.
Yeah, that's what, 6198.
How many?
So I think 6198.
Okay, so
Was
that
last
times
month. That was
72.
last month.
So that's 72, I don't know, that's close to 80,000 meals. That includes the PCC.
With what it averages, it's like 82,000 meals a month, or a year, 83,000.
That's basically where we run at. I mean, I know that there were less because we came up to speed, we peaked at some point, we came down, we had some people left. We didn't have people running after the meals for the 950. Now we're, I guess, the number is around 82,000.
So that's basically 10% fewer meals that we're paying 112,000 more for, which could be 300,000 that we've overpaid based on what Morrison's had told us the per meal
That number
cost
would be a
would
stretch.
I'm sorry, say
That
again?
number would be a stretch. Because if you.
It's not 112, what the number
Yeah, I don't know,
is more than that.
do some, we'll do some quick math for you. Take 8,000, I'm sorry, take the number of meals divided by the food cost and see what just the food cost is. Multiply it by 8,000, we'll know what the number is.
Is there any chance of adjusting the contract to address the number of meals that are actually consumed?
I don't have any plans to do that. My only plan that I think right now is to try to execute on some of the things that the dining committee has brought to our attention. We know that there are cost issues with the contract, and we are working
So if you take,
on those cost
take the
issues.
number of meals divided just by the food cost, only that's $5.46 for April.
So about 40,000. So 40,000 in cost, not 300,000, maybe 50,000 in cost.
You multiply that by 80,000 though, you're gonna come up with.
No, you don't. You multiply by the difference, the meals not used, so it's 8,000. Meals not used times the cost of the meal. That's the additional food cost that you would spend if you produced 90,000 meals versus 82,000 meals.
Yeah, so that's $43,739.
Yeah, it's not 300,000, 42. Because again, it's the labor cost that scales, not the food cost. It's variable, so it costs more money, but that isn't the real expense that we're facing. And I also believe that there are certain things within what we've done in terms of food service delivery, right? The sort of all-you-can-eat sort of approach that we've had to take has probably created waste, overconsumption, and probably has some benefit that we haven't realized yet, which we need to realize that.
Yeah, I will say that in dining total, April's probably the best month we've had since we fully opened with Morrison's. We were only over budget with the whole department, $6,000, which is a lot better than what we've been doing. The food costs were down about 10,000, the labor cost came down. So April looked much better.
Okay, my 300,000 was a number I plucked out of the air without any information at all. The point is that if we're basing the contract on 90,000 meals and we consume less, still paying Morrison's more this year, 112, that needs to be reflected somehow. You're telling me that the contract can't be adjusted to reflect the actual number of meals consumed, correct?
Well, any contract can be adjusted, right? So we can
Well, I don't know.
we can go ahead and try to negotiate the contract, but it's still a cost plus contract. So if we get the costs right-sided, then what happens is you're back where you're supposed to be. The question is, how much are you willing to accept that is actually caused by increased costs like labor costs, like food costs? Those are real costs that have increased. And they were not a part of the contract, by the way. The contract increase was 3%. That is not the CPI, that is what we agreed to in terms of that limitation. So to me, the contract seems like still a good contract. If we lose on $122,000, maybe I would disagree that it's a good contract. But if we don't lose on the 122, I think it's a good contract. So.
Is there any update on the trees that were marked out here by the city for potential removal?
Yes, I updated, I believe, meeting before last. That was a project that was going on down the street, and when I dug into it, the property manager, or the manager over that project incorrectly marked our property. So it was supposed to be down the street, not our property.
So we don't have to chain ourselves to the trees.
Right, right.
2 meetings ago, Rita, you said you were going to present a proposed procedure for collecting late HOA fees. Has that been pulled together?
I have made a rough draft and passed it on to our HOA attorney to look over.
Okay.
We've been working with him on collection letters and so forth. He is out of town for 2 weeks. We discussed it in executive session, so I'm waiting to hear back from him on an actual procedure.
And also, I think it was 2 meetings ago, we had talked about the initial charge when somebody moves in, $200 or $250, whatever it is now, and then the annual charge after that. And I thought you were going to prepare those items that needed to be given to the administrative staff so that those, whatever you needed would be there for you to have. I don't know what that list is. Is there such a list, and where can I, whatever you're charging us for, what are those items that you need in order for us to be in good standing with the administrative staff? Where do I find that list?
What are you talking, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Which,
I just have 2 tenants moved in. I'm going to be charged, I don't know if it's $200 or $250 to get them in the system. Getting them key, not, what do you call the thing, to open the gate and to submit their list and all that kind of stuff. And then the board last time, I think, said that every year after that, there would be another $250 charge. And you had told me privately that mostly that's from people that aren't following the rules of getting.
you're talking about the lease renewal fee.
That's
The
part of it,
the
but there's
tenant
also
pays
a
the
lease
move-in fee.
origination fee too.
The tenant pays the move-in fee.
What, the question is, what items do you need to get somebody logged into the system here? You had said at one
Okay.
point it's listed someplace, I don't know where that is, I don't know what I'm supposed to be providing.
Okay, I will send that to you, but basically it's the tenant moving in provides us with the insurance, which your tenant sent it to us, I sent it to you, so you'd have a copy. They provide us with their insurance for the property. If they drive, their car insurance, their driver's license, they have an orientation with Susan.
Is that written down anywhere?
It's on a checklist from the realtor. The
Okay.
realtor has the checklist provided by us.
And how about the renewal fee that the board has said is going to charge? What items are required there?
Right, we went over that last month. I'll pull it and send it to you.
Yeah, please do, because I was here and I don't remember that list of items.
Yeah, we went over it.
Put that on the website for the owners.
On the dining room, when Michelle was here, I asked her about how they worked out the meal plans. And she said Morrison's has this list of, for the next 3 months, these would be great meals or something based on, current things available and all. When I've asked Steve, he says he gets no advice from Morrison's on any meals. So apparently Steve totally plans all the meals.
That's incorrect. I have gained access to a portal that they use that's on a cycle plan. If they stay on chef tables, it's a system that's a cycle plan.
Well, he said he didn't use it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, there's been a big change in things. Obviously, we went to the menu. However, when we had the buffet type things, we had like at least 2 salads available.
Right, you and I discussed that. They changed it to 1 salad for this week, and I told them they had to go back to 2 salad options.
Okay. And like at lunch, you can have soup or salad.
Right, it's no longer soup and salad.
Right, but at least you have a choice. And you're gonna fix that for dinner then, that's been
Right, when we go
worse.
to à la carte, you'll have the same choice, a soup or a salad.
Okay, because we've lost our appetizers too. We also
Right.
even lost them on the night of the buffet, the Wednesday nights. We don't have
Right, they are very
appetizers.
costly.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, somehow the meals almost seem like, I mean, the salads that we're getting is like a saucer size, it's so small.
Right, it's a side salad. I mean, for $9.50,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get an entree salad, an entree soup, two sides,
no.
an entree,
Yeah,
a
but I mean-
full-blown appetizer buffet for $9.50.
Yeah, well, obviously, we could take as much as we wanted on the buffet, I realize, but it seemed like they just really.
Right, so you're probably eating $25 worth of food and paying $9.50, and then you wanna ask why we're over budget.
Yeah, but I don't know what other people feel like. It's, you know, it's like we're really
That's because,
cutting back.
that's because some people got used to all you can eat for $9.50. We can't serve that, and then you talk about being over budget.
Well, I did feel that there were an awfully lot of expensive items on the buffets before. And, you know, like salmon 3 times a week, which I think salmon's expensive, stuff like that. But it seems like we've gone almost the reverse direction, having hot dogs and beans, you know, or something. So anyway, that was.
Well, we did have hot dogs and beans for the picnic.
Yeah, right. I
Along
know.
with chicken and
I'm
hamburgers.
kidding, but anyway, I don't know what other people feel. Any other, anybody want to say something?
I noticed that our survey that everybody completed and returned, the people said that they wanted, excuse me, I'm losing my voice all of a sudden. People said that they wanted be very careful on low starch, low sugar, and low salt. However, on one of the menus a couple of nights ago, I guess it was Thursday of last week, on the menu, the vegetables, there were 3 starches, and 2 green vegetables. So the 3 starches, there should only have been 1 starch there. So we need to follow that survey and what the results of what the people want. That was a very detailed survey that the residents completed. And they were very, very thorough about what they wanted, very thorough what they wanted, if you remember the presentation. And Rita, I agree with you, I think that presentation should go to Morrison's so they can see the results of what the people want in the building. The people come first in the building on this.
Right, and then so last Monday, we started offering baked potatoes and sweet potatoes every night. We're selling out every single night, having to turn people away. So you say they don't want the starch, but we're offering it, we're selling out.
I know on the survey, the very top vegetable that was considered was a white baked potato, but they wanted low starch. So, and I think Scott brought that out in the presentation. But we still need to follow
Baked potatoes
that.
and sweet potatoes aren't necessarily bad for you, you just don't put the butter and sour cream and sugar on it.
I still think we need to follow what they were saying on the survey. Because we do get comments about it.
Okay, this is just very quick. When we receive our invoices, the HOA fee is paid ahead for the month, but the additional cost of meals is included in that. When my tenant left, there was an overage in the number of meals on his invoice. Do you pay, or do you charge him for that, or do you charge the owner?
No, it goes to the tenant, but in the event that they don't pay, it comes back to the owner. Well, it's better controlled if they're going to sell the unit, we can say they owe this amount.
Right.
But if the tenant leaves at the end of the month and the bill for that particular month's not gonna come out till the first of the next month, it's kind of like a good faith that they're gonna pay what their overage is.
So you're gonna send my former tenant the bill for that additional,
Right, I
food
think it was
charges.
$170.
It was, yeah, it was 100, not a big deal. I didn't know whether I was going to take that out of their deposit or whether you were going to bill them.
Right, if I was the owner of the unit, I would hold it to make sure they were gonna pay it.
Okay, then I will do that. Thank you. That was my question.
Anybody else?
Okay. And if there are no other questions, I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, 2:35. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.